In this video, I'll be talking about CSS3 uh, card test. Okay, in our recent video, we did the CSS3 card image. So in this video, we're talking about CSS3 test card. Okay, let's create our HTML structure first. Okay, then inside our body elements, let's add let's use div. We use div. Open this div. Inside this div, this will be our main div. Then inside this div we have another two more divs, separate divs. Let me use this. Okay, let me put another one, another div. Okay, so we have two div inside one div. So this first one is our main div. So let me give it a class name. So we'll be using, you can use id select if you want, but I want to use class selector. So I use class name. I'll call this one main div. I'll use underscore main div. Then let me give it a space so it will not uh, block, so it will not be confusing. Then the second one, I will giving it a class name of because I want to write something like a topic and then the body of the topic. So inside this div now, I will be creating something. I will giving it a kind of let me say head. Yeah, let me use something like header. I think it will make a little bit sense. Then our last div will be our paragraph. Let me say class name. I'll give it a paragraph, or let me say test. I think test will make sense, so it will look a little bit header and test, or header and paragraph. Which one should I use now? Just for naming of curriculum, name it anything you want. So I will link, next I will just link my CSS file here. I'll say I'll link my CSS file. So if you don't know how to link your CSS file, go and watch my CSS insert videos and you will see how to do that. I think we are done with our divs. Not yet. Remain another thing. I want to add text to them. Okay, I'll add text into the first one. Let me use inside this our header. Let me give it a header. Let me say something like what topic we are using now. Let me just use anything. Let me use okay, let me use something like chapter 1. Let me use something like that. And if I use chapter 1, then I have to change this class name to chapter. If I don't want, I will leave it at header, but so it will look a little bit that's chapter. Let me use block uppercase. Say chapter 1. Chapter 1. I think I'll use letter or through. It will make a little bit sense. Then I will change this thing. Let me use chapter here. Inside that, let me just give our class the name chapter. Yeah, chapter. Just for leading sake, it doesn't really mean anything. What I mean is the class name. You can give it any name you want. Okay, having said that, then I will now give this one let me use inside this place, let me leave it at test. Okay, so let me use a rolling to write a random test that will make it look like a sharp a full page test. Let me give it a 500 random words. I think this 500 is too much because what we are trying to illustrate card. Okay, so what I will now do, I will clean it. Okay, let me I will clean it and reduce the words. I will reduce the words so that it will look a little bit reasonable. Let me clean and then let me see how it will look like here. Really mixed up here. 500 words is too much. It's very much. Let me reduce it. No this. Then let me cut another one again. Let me cut from here. This thing is just a random word. Does not mean anything. Just use loading to generate them. Does not actually mean anything. Just a random words. Kind of a demo for testing. Okay. Let me reduce more again. Could have used rolling. Let me say rolling 400. It will be more better. Let me just do it manually. Okay. So let me think this one is better now. I think this size is okay. I think it's okay. It's manageable. We can manage this one. The text is viewable. But no, I have to reduce because if I increase the font size, I will still increase it. If I increase the font size, it will affect, it will still get bigger. So let me just delete a little bit. Okay, I think this one makes sense now. So even if I increase this font size, it will not, it has maximum it can go, it will not cross the half of the screen. Okay, having said that, I think I'm done with my HTML. So inside our CSS, just split the screen so that I have shift, give more space for CSS first, so I can have more space to write. Okay, so inside my CSS file, I'll first of all I'll use class selector. So our first class name is main div. So I will call the main div. Okay, so I will use dots, the class name, main div. Okay, main div, main no main div underscore div, which is the name I gave to it. Then I open a declaration block. Inside this place now, let me give the div a general. Let me give it uh, let me just give it, first of all, give it a box sizing. Box sizing. Let me use border box. So everything will be inside one box in a way. Then the next thing I will do now, we'll give it. Let me give it say background color. Background color. Let me give it a background color of. Let me say. Let me use something like lemon green, something like this color now. I think it will make sense. Uh, it makes sense. Then I will when I will proceed, I'll change the one for chapter. I will target the chapter and give it a different background color. Okay, let me just leave it like this. This is the background color. Let me use lime. Okay. Then the next thing I will do now will let me give it a shadow. I'll give it a shadow so it will look small. To look more okay. And let me shadow box. Suppose yeah, shadow box shadow. Sorry, box shadow. I'll give it a values of, let me say, 2 pixel space 3 pixels space 4 pixels. How does it look like? You can see the separate. You can see the shadow in the screen. Okay. Let me give this div a kind of a width. Let me give it a width so that, let me see whether I can cut from here so it will be only this side, it will not extend to the end, so you can see the whole shadow there. Let me give it a width, let me say 200 pixel and see how it look like. Yeah, this is very, very, very awesome. Love this. Okay, so let me make it 250 and see. 250 looks even more better. How about 300? I think 300 would make more sense. Let me see, 300 pixel. Okay, I think this is better. Then what I will now do in the height, I want the height to be auto. Let me use height. I want the height to be auto. Okay, what that means is that once I'm adding text, it will be dropping down automatically, but the width cannot exceed this place. The width is constant, it can't exceed, but height is auto. Once I'm adding stuff, it will keep on extending these properties and values to it. Okay, having said that, let's move on. Okay, let me just increase this shadow so the shadow will be more visible. Let me say 40 pixel at the end one. It's visible, but it's not as visible as I want. Let me make the center one. Let me say let me use 20 here. Okay, then this last one, let me give this last one something like 50. The shadow is not visible, but it's not really giving me what I want. Let me just give it a color. Let me say color of let me use gray for the, let me use this gray color and see how it will look like. Still look nice, but there's still but there. Let me make this one 10 pixel, and then this one, let me see whether I can make it 5. um the shadow looks nice, but I don't really like it. I don't really like the shadow. I want something that will be very visible. Let me use let me see whether this thing, let me see whether 22 will be visible. 22 pixel 50, 22 pixel 50 will be visible. It's not even that visible. How about 22 30 pixels? Wow, it's not giving me not really giving me what I want. Let me remove this, see how it looks like. Let me make this one 20. How about this one being 20? Then let me make this one 15 and see how it looks like. 15 pixel. Yeah, Now it looks a little bit okay. Then let me add that last value. Let me add let me say 50 pixel now. Let me see how this effect will look like. 50 pixel. It looks a little bit nice. Let me leave it at just that. Fine. Let me not waste my time here trying to explain, trying to do the shadow. I have a lot of things to do. So let me leave it this way, okay? This we can see the shadow. Here's the shadow in the background. Let me give it a color so the color will be visible. You know that there is shadow there. Let me replace the shadow with something like red. Although it will not match, but just for the sake of this, you see we've seen the shadow in the background. Okay, having said that, let's move to the next step. I want to you can see this thing is inside one card. This is just inside one card. Okay. So the next I want to do, I want to what's the next class we have here? We have chapter. Chapter is this we use this chapter one start as kind of a header for this test. So let's call that chapter. Let me call it dot chapter. What's okay, I use lowercase dot chapter. Okay, open a declaration block. Inside this declaration block, let me shift it to somewhere center here. So I will say test align center. So that text can move to the center. You can see that it's now in center. Then let me give it padding so it will have space between. So there will be space between the chapter and the what is it called and the test. Okay. Or even so, let me first of all give it a background color. Let me give it a background color before I do that. If the background color gives me what I want, I'll leave it. Let me give it a let me say green. Let me normal green. Let me see how it looks like. Okay, I think these two color make sense. Two of them match a bit. Okay, so what I will now do, I will increase the font size. I think the font size, once I increase the font size, it will also affect the background color. Let me give it font size of let me give it 2 EM and see how it look like. Perfect. I think you can see it looks nice. It looks nice a bit. So let me give it space. So I want to space it out from this um this test. So this test will go down a little bit. Let me see if for that. Let me see that one. Let me say padding. Let me do padding. Let me say padding of let me say 10 pixel. No. Let me say padding top. No, padding bottom. Hyphen bottom. Let me say something like 20 pixels. No, it gives that space, but I don't really think this is the best way I will do it. Let me apply this padding inside our test. So the test will go down. This color as well will also go down. Let me call the class of the test. So dot test, open our declaration block. This is what we are talking about. We have called this class, our class name here. So let's give it its own property. Let me first of all align all these tests to the center, the way I did this one, and see the best way I can do it. Align, test align, sorry, test align. This test, let me use center and see what it looks like. It looks a little bit nice, but let me shift it to the right here, so it will look. No need of chapter. I just want the chapter to be in the center, then the text will be in center. So let me shift it by the left here. So it will okay. It's already by default is left. Okay. So even if I still put the left here, it will still be centering. There's no changes. Unless I put right, it will shift to the other side. It will shift to the other side. Okay, but we don't want it. I want that left. So no need of putting the text align here. The text is already okay. Let me not do any other thing there. So what I will now do, let me give that padding so it will give space. It will separate itself from that chapter, so the chapter will look more so there will be space between this chapter and this text. Okay, so it will look more nice. So I'll give it a padding. Say padding. I will giving it padding top, so it will have some space between up and down. Let me give it let me say 10 pixel. So I will start from there. 10 pixel is not enough. Let me make it 30. Okay, I think it makes a little bit sense the way it looks now. You can see can see how it looks like. Okay, but it seems like it does not make little sense. Okay, it makes sense, but something I think let me just add something so this thing will look more professional, not professional, but make a little bit sense. I want to add topic here. This is chapter one. When you open it, when you want to read a book, you have chapter one, you have the topic of the that you are reading. Then inside that topic, inside that um after the chapter one, you have your topic somewhere here. Then after the topic, you now have your text. Let me quickly add that. Just bear with me. Let me add that inside our HTML element. After our chapter one, let me add another div. This is a child div to the main div. Let me say let me give it a name of, let me just slide something like chapter one. Let me say something like start here. Okay, let me say starter. Let me say something like starters. Let me say starter. Uh, let me say starter day one. Should I, let me not use that. Let me something. Let me use something. Let me say let me say bottle. Yeah, I found some word in my head now. Let me say bottleneck. Say bottleneck. Okay. Let me use bottleneck. Let me say space between them. Say something like bottleneck. Okay. It does not really mean anything, but I just want to use it to illustrate what I want to say. Okay, having said that, let me give it a class name of topic. Let me use class name of class and then give it topic. Topic. Let me use this. Let me use lowercase. Say topic. This one, this thing, it will make sense. So I have not added the topic to the bottle. Okay, so what I will now do, I will now call it after the chapter. You can call it any way you want, still the same thing. Okay, just the HTML that put the structure. This one, anywhere you position it does not matter, but positioning is HTML matters, but here I don't think does not really matter. Okay, so what I will now do is I will call the function, not the function, I will call the class dot topic, then open a declaration block. Okay, inside this declaration block of topic, let me give it a property of let me say, let me push it to the center first so it will make sense. Let me say I will use test align first. Let me use test align inside this place there. Test align. This test, let me push it to center and see how it looks like. Perfect. Then let me give space so it will come. It will drop a bit from that chapter. From the chapter line. Let me say. I will use padding. I use padding. Inside the padding, I will give it. Let me say. I will say padding top, not only padding. I will say padding top. Padding top. Inside the padding top, I'll give it, let's say, 5 pixels and see what it looks like. It's separate, but it's not that enough for me. Let me also give it. Let me say 10 pixels. No, let me make it 15. 15. I think. Let me make it 20. Let me leave it at 20. 20 makes sense. Okay, so now we have chapter 1, we have our bottleneck, which is our topic, and then we have our what is it called, we have our test. Okay, let me also add it another. Let me increase its font size. Say font size, let me say font size, let me give it let me increase it a bit. Let me just give it, let me say 30 pixels and see what it looks like. Is it, no, it doesn't make it, it's not supposed to have the same size with the chapter. It's supposed to be a little bit smaller. Let me make it 5 pixels and see what it looks like. It's too small. Let me use EM. What we use in our chapter is 2 EM. So let's make it 0.8 or 1 EM and see what it looks like. 1 EM. Still the same. Then let's make it 1.1. I think it makes sense now. It looks a little bit nice now. Okay. It makes a little bit nice. Then let me just give it line. Let me just put some line here. Let me just put some line, straight line here under it, that will go across the screen so that it will really look like a chapter, something like that. Okay, let me do that. Let me come under here, under the topic, with here is the topic, probably here is the topic. Then let me give it hash which is horizontal loop, and see how it will look like. Okay, here's the horizontal loop. The horizontal loop, I will also give it property. I will also is an element. I will also give it a simple styling and inside this place. Okay, so having said that, I think I'm mostly done now. Let me just give this horizontal loop a black color, something color, so that it will not be off with the existing color already. So let me say we call hr element select. So inside this place, I will now say I will give it a color of let me give it color of let me say color. Let me give it black. Let me say black. Black. Why is it not having any effect? Why is it not having any effects? HR is horizontal. Why is it not having any? Let me give it inline. So it will not. Let me just give it inline. I don't want to stress this video now. Let me just give it inline. Inline. Let me give it inline styling. Style. Inline. So color. Color. Let me give it a color of let me say. How about ledge? Let me see. Why is this? Why is this not effective? Why is this horizontal line not effective? Why? I think I want to give. I must surely give that color. I must surely do it. I must surely figure it. I want to give that color. I want to give color to this place. Let me try another thing. Or how does this? Wait. Let me. Yeah, this is supposed to be color. This is the property, and then we have our value. Let me say red. So why then is it not? Or does it? I think it does not need style. It does not need style. Let me give it color dialect, color attributes. Let me just use color dialect and see what happens. Let me say red. Let me see red. Oh my, see, this is the best way to approach this, not styling. Okay, but it's supposed to accept styling now. It was not supposed to do this. So I will give it black. So the best thing to do, you just it all you need this hash head horizontal. It does not need styling. Then before you styling, it does not need styling attributes. Then before you now put color and all that, what it needs is just attributes and give it value, which is this color, and give it value. Okay, so for to make my HTML code look more cleaner, I will leave this HR here and go to styling and then give it that style instead of doing it inline, so it will look a little bit okay. So I'll use the element select, which is that the name of that element. Instead, I will now give it, since it's accepting only attribute and attribute property and color value. Okay, so I will now give it color equal to let me see how it will work here. Let me give it a value of let me say that right and see what it looks like. Also, it does it mean it does not work inside this place? Why? Tell me why it's not working. So it really needs me to do it inline. I'm supposed to do this thing is supposed to work here. Why is it not it's supposed to work? Let me try again. If it does not work, for the sake of time, I'll skip it. So let me just give red supposed to work. Then why then is it not working? Horizontal loop. Okay, for the sake of time, I will not stress myself doing this. Let me just put it in. Let me just make it inline styling. It does not even disturb more space there. So let me do it. Let me say color. Let me give it that attribute. Attributes. Color. No color. Um. Then I will not give it. Let me give you. I want to give it black. I want to give it black. Black color. Okay, can this line black color now will be a line that will go between the topic and the text. So what I will now do, I will now bring this text up now. So I will bring it up a bit, so it will come up maybe somewhere here. Okay, so let me reduce this HTML and then back to our CSS. Let me increase this text. Let me use padding to bring it up small. we'll have it in our test. Here's our test. So I will reduce it to, let me say, 20 pixel, about 15 pixel, not 150 but 50. 15 is coming up. Let me make it 10. About 7, about 6, about 5, about 4, about 3. Let me leave it at 4. So I think it makes sense now. So you can see this is a kind of a card, a same small card. So we'll add some styling to it. We give it a chapter. We give it a topic. Then we align the text inside, just like, it looks like a simple card. Then I want to do something. Let me remove this background. This red color is not giving it what we want, making it look somehow. I think this one makes sense. I think it now have a nice background. Let me make this one. It's about 2 pixel. No, I really want that. It's about 25. About 25 pixel. Okay, so you can see it's now, it looks like something that separates itself from the listing. Okay, I think it looks nice now. You can see that. You can see how it looks now. Let me open this. Let me wider. You can see how the card look like. Just look like normal card. Okay, you can actually use this thing to create a sort of a complementary card. You can just add your image here, add your text, then add your company details. This thing is very simple. You can just do it with this CSS3 text card. Okay, so back to our code. So having done that, that's all we can. That's how far we can go in this video. Okay, I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the other videos.